Good morning. This might be a little noisy today because Mrs. Brosek and I are sitting in the airport waiting for our flight to leave. But I wanted to take a few minutes of your time today and introduce next week's focus, socialization. All we want to do today is look at just simply what it is. We're only going to answer two questions today. The first question we're going to address is just simply, what's the connection between socialization and personality? Last Monday, we focused on why do we behave the way we do? Is it because of our heredity or is it because of our environment? And sociologists have different opinions, but most sociologists agree that it's a combination of the two, that we behave the way we do partially because of our nature and partially because of our nurture. The biggest controversy among sociologists and psychologists, though, is how much does environment play? How much does our nature play? But most sociologists agree that social behavior is learned. Well, how do we learn social behavior? That's where the term socialization comes in. Socialization is the process of learning how to participate in a group, learning how to participate, learning how to play with your friends, learning how to interact with your family, learning how to interact in a classroom or in the workplace or wherever it may be. The fancy word for that is transmission. As you saw in the film we watched about children who lacked social interaction when they were young, there's quite a few psychological case studies that stress the importance of socialization early in life. If you were not in class on Monday when we watched that film, it is still linked under Monday's course. I would strongly suggest you watch that video if you haven't watched it already. It'll really make you think about the importance of early socialization. Your personal development, your social development, you've gained this through prolonged social contact with other people. Number one, your family, your mothers, your fathers, your grandparents, your siblings, your cousins. That's the first group you encounter. That's the first group that helps you realize what's acceptable and not acceptable in our society. Having time to reflect, there's a few things that we probably should have covered this week that we didn't, that are really important for you to understand for this week coming up and for the future weeks. One of these things is the concept of ethnocentrism. We don't want to be ethnocentric. Again, sociologists do not want to be ethnocentric. But what is it? It's when you make judgments about a culture. Sociologists want to make observations and report on observations. They do not want to compare one culture to another culture as far as what is better, what trait is better. So again, ethnocentrism is when you make judgments about a culture, and as sociologists, we do not want to make judgments. I think it's natural, though, to make judgments because we all have this feeling that our culture is better than another culture. Another concept we probably should have covered this week is sanctions. Sanctions are rewards. They're punishments. They're, either one, rewards or punishments, they're used to encourage people to follow norms. Now there's two kinds of sanctions we need to address here. The first is the formal sanctions versus informal sanctions. Formal sanctions are sanctions that are applied by designated officials, designated people, such as teachers, or judges, or police officers. Informal sanctions can be applied by almost anybody. A neighbor, a person sitting next to you. You pick your nose in class and your table mate stares at you or makes a face at you. That's an informal sanction. Another kind of sanction that we need to look at is positive and negative sanctions. Positive sanctions are when you receive rewards for good behavior or for doing appropriate things in our society. Negative sanctions are like basically punishments when you get in trouble because you're not following a norm that you should. Well, you folks have a good day. There's a movie I'd like you to watch for a while, and then I will see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend of no homework.